we will continue with the problem solving. In this lecture, we will draw some flow chart. We will use IPO table and so on. So here are some guidelines for the problem solving. First of all, determine the input and accepted output clearly. Exclude any external value that might mislead the results. Write your equations or formula clearly and test them, keeping in mind the operator precedence. Disk check your algorithm and trace your code. Okay. So these are guidelines. Following these guidelines will help you in solving problem, especially complex problem. Now I will go to next slide. Now here is the first problem. Please take 1 minute to read this slide, and inshallah we will ask you some question about this problem, and we will go over the solution. Okay. I will give you in this 1 minute. Please take a look at it and start reading the slide. I will try to summarize this problem. Now, in this problem, we have what we call a scientific track. Scientific track. As in the previous, we have here 3 colleges inside, or 3 majors inside this scientific track. It is a computer science, business administration, and IT. So we have 3 basic majors inside this scientific track. Okay. So based on that, we want to find the ratio for these students inside this science track, okay, or the ratio for these majors inside the whole science track, and we want to print out the highest ratio of acceptance in this track, and we will also find the percentage for each college against the university. So we have these 3 things here. First of all, we want to find the ratio, okay? And second of all, we will find the highest ratio here inside the science track, and we will find also the ratio or the percentage of acceptance of each college against the whole university. Okay, against the whole university here. We accept, we assume that the university accepts 10,000 students annually. Okay. So based on that, we will do our calculation. Now, we have these data here. College of Computer Science, the acceptance of a student was 200. In the College of Business Administration was 150, and College of Science is 700. And here is the total. Here is the total of the scientific track student. So now my first question is, if we want to, Abdullah, could you please mute your mic? Abdullah, to your 22401024. Your number. Please mute your mic. I can mute all now. Okay. So we have three requirement here. First of all, we want to find the ratio for each college inside the science track, and second, we will print the highest ratio, and the third requirement is to find the ratio of these colleges among or against the university, assuming that this university accepts in this year or every year 10,000 students. So here are some guidelines as we have learned before for solving the steps. Create IPO chart. You can do a disk checking, okay, and then you will write your C++ code. We have talked about the IPO chart previously, and we have also talked about the disk checking is about calculating the value manually using a paper. So in step number 2, you can just leave your seat or leave your screen for a minute in order to organize your ideas and understand exactly what you will do. Finally, you will start writing your C++ code. Thank you. So now we are here, sorry, we have here, we will enter here the number of students and we will find the ratio, okay? After that, first of all, we will enter the number for each college. Then we will find the total, okay? After that, we will start our algorithm by calculating the ratio for each college, then calculating the highest ratio. Finally, we will calculate the ratio against the whole university, and we will print the value. For the output are the ratios, also the highest ratio, and the ratio of students. Now my question is, if we want to find a ratio of something, what we are dividing, the small number on the large number or the large number on the small number? What we are dividing, guys? Just I want to remind you by a simple calculus or math rules. If we want to find the ratio, what we are dividing? Are we dividing the small on the large or the large on the small number؟ يعني الكبير
الجزء على الكل.
أيوة البارت أو السمول number على الكل. Yes, thank you. So, I hope now this is clear. So here are some disk checking table with expected output. Okay, I have or the developer has written some number and find the ratio based on that. Okay, based on that. So now we will go through this. We will continue with this and go to the code quickly. Here, what we have done here, my first question here before I start talking about the code, why we have written here std : cout? Anyone can tell me why? Yes, correct, because we did not declare or use this namespace, which is std. So first of all, here inside the code, if I don't want to use std here, I have to write here using namespace std. Because I did not write that, I have to repeat this statements here and here in every place that we find cin or cout. So now this is the code here. I am entering I have printed on the screen to enter the number of students in these three colleges. So I have entered them. Then I want to find the ratio. So I need the total of these students. So in the second statement here, total science administration, okay, or science track, I have calculated or find the sum of these three numbers for CS, business administration, and IT. Then, as we mentioned in our example, we will find the ratio by dividing the number on the total. Here we are dividing the part or the small number on the big one to find the ratio of CS, business administration, and IT. After that, we have printed out the value. Okay, give me 1 minute, Muad. I will, inshallah, allow you to participate. Now, in the second step here, we will print the highest acceptance rate. How we are printing the highest acceptance rate here? By comparing. I am comparing CS with BA, then I compare CS with ratio. If CS is greater than the PA, the business administration, and the CS is greater than the IT, I will print the CS is the highest one. Other comparison, I will compare the business administration. If BA, business administration, I am now in slide 9, guys. I will compare the business administration with the CS, and I will compare the business administration again with IT, and based on that, I will print the highest ratio. Otherwise, the highest ratio will be the IT. So it might be the CS or the business administration or the IT based on my comparison here. I am trying to do my comparison here. This is a way to find the maximum or the highest, but myself, I prefer to define a variable, okay? Then make two comparison and assign the highest ratio inside this variable, like the max algorithm. I don't prefer to do something like this. It's more complex and not readable. I prefer always to define a variable for the max here, then or for the highest ratio, and consider, for example, the CS is the highest ratio, then I start comparing one by one without writing these complex conditions. Finally, in the last step here, I will print the ratio against the whole university. As we assume in our problem, the number of students inside the university is 10,000 here. So I have divided the number of students on the number of students inside the university, and then I printed out the ratio of these students. Yes, Muad, I believe you have a question.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
بس في نقطة ما فهمتهم.
Yes.
أول نقطة هو ليه استمر يكتب الاس دي كم مرة؟
Because we did not use this. We did not write using namespace std. So you cannot use cout or cn, and the compiler will not understand the commands cout or the function cout and cn without entering or going to the std area. If you remember in the first lecture, we have written include IO stream, and we mentioned this IO stream is the library, and the library is divided into area. I need to go to history section or any section, so I need to go to the section that contains the cout and the cn commands or function here. Without these, I could not write I could not use the C out and the C in. Okay.
عشان كده المشكلة هذه هو ما عمل انكلود للمكتبة حقت الاس دي، فعشان كده ظل يكتبها في كل جملة، صح؟
Yes, yeah. عشانك انت ما عملت using namespace std. If you didn't write this statement, you have to call this area or this section again and again.
جميل.
Okay. So you are repeating the code. It's I didn't hear you.
كان عندي مشكلة ثانية يعني لو
Yes, go ahead.
ممكن بس لو تذكرنا ايش الفرق لما استخدم else if و else العادية، انه هو هنا في الخطوة الرابعة قال لك if كذا كذا بعدين else if بعدين else.
This is the last thing that you are working on here. Now, if is the condition, the first condition. If this is not true, I will go to the else if. Otherwise, I will go to the else.
The end line.
Means it is the last else inside the if condition. It is the last possibility inside the if condition. And if this is true, I will go to this. Otherwise, I will go to else if here. If this condition is not true and this condition is not true, I will execute the else statement. Okay, but I cannot execute both. Okay, I cannot execute both statements or both conditions. Only one of these three. Okay, is this clear, Muad?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Now, if don't mix between nested if and else, okay? Because if we have nested if, we have outer if. So if, let's suppose there are any statements inside the outer if can be executed inside the outer if, I will repeat, if the condition inside the outer if is true, okay? But if we have else for the outer if, it will follow the outer one, okay? But this is one if, considered as a one block of if. There are no if and outer if, okay? Here, no inner if and no outer if. They are in the same block. But the idea here, you can write else if, ratio, whatever. You can add any condition you want, but you have to make sure that you will end it by else. Okay, it's better because this is makes sense actually, because this is the first one and this is the second condition, and finally, if these conditions are not true, you will go to the else bar. Okay, you can write if you like, if, then end if, another separate if statement and another separate if statement. It's okay. Okay. But you don't want the compiler to go over all the if statement. Clear what I'm talking about? You can write if without the first if, without else if. You can write another if, separate if, and write another separate if. But we don't want the compiler to go over the whole ifs. If one of them is true, خلاص, I will execute only one if condition. Okay. So now, okay. Now I will go to the next slide here. So for the first slide, the main idea for the first problem is to know how to make our measurement or our calculation or our statistics based on the value we got. So we have some value about the number of students. How we found the ratio? Based on the value of the number of students, we found the total. Then we have divided the number of students on the whole number here, on the whole number, or on the total. So here, how we are find the ratio of two numbers. Ratio of two numbers. Okay. Now I am in slide number 10. Please take a look at this slide quickly and try to summarize what this problem about. Okay, guys, anyone can summarize this problem for me or for the students? Yes, Maat, go ahead.
In this problem, okay, we have someone who's called Hassan, and he wants to make and he makes some measurement, and he wants to know the average value of this measurement he made. Okay.
Yes.
And to do this, we want to make the average value better than the result to the measurement he made.
Okay? Yeah, more accurate. Let's say more accurate.
Yeah, more accurate. Yeah. And he wants to we to help him.
Yes.
To found the average value he will get after this manipulation.
Yes. So now, thank you, Maat, for clarifying this. Now, this student wants to find the average of some value, but before calculating the final average, we want to remove the highest and the lowest value in order to make our results more accurate, okay? More accurate. This is what happened in the real world. If you apply for a survey or for evaluation, the highest and minimum value will be secluded or will be skipped or ignored because somehow zeros and 10 does not make sense. If you evaluate someone and give him, for example, 10, does not make sense. And if you give him also 0, does not make sense. So in the real world, actually, for research and surveys, the highest and the minimum value are excluded. This is what is really happening in the real world. So we want to apply just a small program or a simple application to do that. We will enter the value and we will calculate the minimum and maximum, then we will skip them from the average. Okay, now the number of value that this student or this guy, Hassan, is going to enter is 5 value, okay? 5 value. So, as you know, all of you know that the average is counted by calculating the sum of the value divided or on the number of the value. So we are going to calculate the sum and divide it on the number of these values. So here also I'm going to create IPO. I want to make my disk checking. Okay, if you like, then I will write my C++ code. Here is the IPO. I'm going to enter these 5 value 1 to value 5. Here are the input. In processing, I'm going first of all to find the highest and the lowest. My algorithm start read the 5 input value, find the highest and the lowest, calculate the average of the 3 left value, print the average, then end the program. The output are the average of value excluding the highest and the lowest value. So I will go over to next slide now. I am now in slide number 13 here. As you can see here, the program also, I didn't use or write, not me actually, okay. But here using namespace std is not there, it's not here. So I need to write std column each time. Okay, so we prefer all the time to write using namespace std. Now here I have entered, first of all, the algorithm here or the program is written here is assuming that the number 1 is the maximum and the minimum value at the first time. So we are using here, if you can see the cursor here, min in line number 8, min equal max, min equal max, and max equal num. This is triple assignment, okay? Or double assignment, whatever you want to call it, but we are here assigning two values to the same number. So max now is equal num1 and min is equal num1. Why we have done that? This is how the human is thinking. If you have a piece of paper and I ask you to find the largest or the minimum number inside this paper, you will start from the top and start looking at the maximum and the minimum number. You will not start from the middle. So this is why we have assumed that number 1 is the max and the min, so that we will start comparing with other. So we have assumed that number 1 is the maximum and the minimum, and then we will start comparing other number with him. Why we have done that? This is how you think, or how is a human think. If I give you, I will repeat again, if I gave you a piece of paper and ask you to compare numbers or names or sort some names or some numbers, you will start from the top of the page, assuming that these are the maximum or the minimum. Then you will start comparing these value with each other, with other values in the bottom to find the final result. So this is what the programmer or the developer did in his program. Assume that the first number is the maximum and the minimum, then the user enter number 2, then start comparing number 2 with number 1, which is the max and the min. So, and based on this comparison, we decide whether number 2 is the max or number 2 is the min by writing these if statements here. This is the first if to compare number 2. Then we have entered number 3. Then we have compared number 3 with max and min. Okay, and the same for number 4 and number 5. Why I am always comparing with max or min? Because max and min are the temp value or the variable that are used always to save the maximum and min. So I will, let's suppose that I have entered number 1, then and assume it min and max, and I have entered number 2, and number 2 is greater than number 1, which is the max here. Then in that case, max will be num2. Then I will go to compare num3 with the max. Okay, so max might be changing, max and min might be changed during or based on our condition in these lines. After that, I will print the average or the average here by calculating this number and excluding min and max, and instead of dividing this value by 5, because I have ignored 2 numbers, I have divided them by 3. Okay, so here is the total. The user has entered these 3 numbers. We have trimmed the maximum, which is 20, 22, and the minimum, which is 1. Then we have calculate the average here by dividing it by 3. Okay, anyone can tell me why we write here? I didn't ask this question to the first group. I think they can figure out why we have added here 3.0, not 3. Anyone can tell me? Yes, some of you probably said some of the students ask how this is a decimal point. Now, my question is answering your question, you know. Now, Rawi has answered the question. He said the result must be double. And as you can see here, the number are of type integer. Num1, num2, num3, num4, num5. And I want to make the average accurate. I am looking for accuracy in this program, actually. So I want to show the decimal points here. So I have divided the number by 3.0. If you remember, if any parts of the arithmetic operation or is double, then the results will be double. So I have written here the 3.0 to make it double, because I want my average to show as a double with its decimal places here. Okay? Some of the students ask, I think Abdullah, you are asking about what, Abdullah? Average? I did not print here num1, num2, num3, num4, and num5. I did not assign the result to double variable. This is why I just printed it directly here. This is why I divided it by 3.0 to make the result double, okay? To ensure that my result is double. If you remember in the previous slide, if any part of inside the arithmetic operation or is double, then the results should be double. And because I am calculating the average here, I need the decimal points to show. Thank you, Abdullah. He said it's clear now. Mshari, I have talked about this. Yes, because we did not write using namespace std, we need to write std like this. Okay, these are called a namespace. Okay, in the next course, inshallah, you will learn how to define these namespaces. Your namespace, not built-in namespaces. You are going to learn how to build your namespaces in the next course, inshallah. Okay, I hope this is clear. So look at the details. Try to ask yourself why we have done this, why we didn't add this. Okay, here I did not use or assign the double value. I will repeat again to any variable. I just print it out directly, and this can be done inside C++. I can print the results or the formula directly. Okay. Now let's go over the character here and string. Now we have also talked about this. If you remember, dealing with character means that I am dealing with their ASCII code. So if I am comparing two characters, what is really happening here is that I am comparing the ASCII code of these characters. Okay, so if I said A is less than B, that is true because the ASCII code of A capital is 65 and the ASCII code of B is 66, and the same for 1 and 2 and for A and Z. Okay. And don't forget, please, the single quotes if you are dealing with character. So now I am in slide 17. As I mentioned before, slide 16 is very easy. We have talked about the slide previously. Now here in this example, I am just comparing the range of value, but these values are of type character. Here I have, this is not the whole code actually, this is part of the code, okay, not the whole code, because as you can see, we don't have the include, and I could not find the statement for defining CH as a character. So here is a part of the code, enter a digit or a letter, cn.get. Okay, cn.get, if you remember, this command is used to read character, okay, to read the character, either if it was a space, okay, it will not be ignored. So it's better here not to use cn. With character, we prefer to use cn.get, okay. Now the value will be saved inside the character here. Now I am comparing this value here. If you, as you can see here, if ch is greater or equal 0 and ch is less than 9, I will print on the screen cout enter digit. Okay. Else if, now I will go over this statement. If ch greater or equal a and less than z capital, I will enter, you have entered an uppercase. Otherwise, I will check if the character is a small and the character is greater or equal a and less or equal z. I will enter print on the screen that you have entered a lowercase letter. Else, that is not a digit or a letter. So just because some of you ask me about this if else if, how many, just my question here to make sure that everyone has understood this problem or has understood the if else statement. How many statements is going to be printed here on the screen? 1 or 2 or 3 or 4? How many? I want to see now the chat. Okay, 1. Yes, your colleague. Answer 1. Only one statement. Okay? Because the conditions are not mixed. If you have mixed your condition together, that means you have a problem in your logic. Okay? If you mix your condition and you did not write the condition correctly, that means there is a problem in your logic. So you need to make sure that this condition only will be satisfied, not like this. This one is different than this condition, or these ranges are different from these ranges, and also here. So if I have entered a capital, I will print on the screen uppercase character. If it is, for example, a small, I will print on the screen lowercase, and if it is a digit, I will print this is a digit. Otherwise, I will print on the screen that is not a digit or a letter. Okay. Now, here, just this slide, now I am in slide number 18. Here we are comparing strings together, guys. Now I will just explain the mechanism of the comparison here between this string. And this is happen in all string comparison in any language. This is the same logic, okay? The same mechanism, نفس الآلية يعني. What we are doing when we are comparing strings, just to make my example clear, or what I'm going to talk about clear, just please look at these statements here. For name one is Mary, okay? And name 2 is Mark. As you can see, they are mostly like each other. Now, to find which one is bigger than the other, or which string is greater, or which string is less than the other string, I am comparing the string like this. Or what is happening inside the programming language when you are comparing two strings. I will start from left to right, not right to left, because it is an English, okay? It is an English string. Now here, I will compare M with M. Are these two characters the same? Yes. So because they are equal, I am not able to decide which is bigger or which is smaller. I will go to next character, A and A. They are the same. I will not do anything. I am not able to decide until now. And then I will go to the character R here, and as you can see here, R is small. And both are the same, so I could not decide. Now I will compare Y with K. Y with K. Now Y here is greater than K. I mean by this, the ASCII code of Y is greater than the ASCII code of K. So if you look at the result here, name 1 is greater than name 2, that's true. Name 2 is this than name 1, that's false. Okay, they are not equal, that's true. Okay, name 1 equal Mary Jane. Name 1 is less than Mary Jane, that is true. Okay, now anyone can tell me why is the last statement is true? Here in the blue. Anyone can tell me why is the last statement here, the statement that is highlighted by blue, is it true? Yalla guys, I need someone here. I will help you, just try to participate. Yalla, Al-Walid, go ahead.
Is it because it has more characters, more letters?
No, it is not about the length of the string. But you might mean something else. I will explain it later, but I need more accurate answer. Okay, more character. Al-Walid said more character. What's happening when there are more character? Maybe you are right, or you understand the idea, but you need to clarify more. Can you please clarify more? Maybe Al-Walid.
Because if it has more characters, then the ASCII code is greater.
Yeah, this is what I want to hear. Yeah. Now look at this. Yes, thank you. That's correct now. Now here Mary, M-A-R-Y, and now we have here Mary, M-A-R-Y. Now after Mary there is a space here. Now space has an ASCII code like other character, or like any character. Space does not mean null. Okay, does not mean null. It means space, and the space has an ASCII code in the programming language. But here the string is end, so the value is ended. Now it is null. It is null here. So now let's say, for example, the ASCII code for the space is 50, for example, but here there is no ASCII code because the string is end. Is ended here. So now the space is greater than null, so that Mary Jane is greater than the name, or the name is less than Mary Jane. You can read it from the direction you like to read, from any direction you want. Okay? So this is what is really happening. And to some of you ask me how I should know the end of the string. There is a hidden character for each string. This character is used to for the computer, or used with the programs to clarify for the compiler that this is the end of the string or the end of the file or the end of the database, any end. So if you look at the file, you can see the file. It's using your eyes. It has a begin and it has an end. If you look at string using your eyes, you know this is the end of my string, okay? But the computer, as I mentioned to your first group, does not have eyes, okay? There are standard character used for the end of the string and standard character are used for the end of the file or the beginning of the file and so on. ARY will be end of string. There's no other value. So we are comparing space with nothing here. The string is ended, so the space has an ASCII code. So this is why my region is greater than the other thing. I hope this is clear. Now, as we mentioned before, also you can use the string and compare the string, but make sure make sure to surround these strings by double quotes. I am now in slide number 19, so I am just comparing if if part number is equal this value, and based on that I am printing price. I think price A and price B are constant. So you are just comparing the part number, and based on the part number, you are printing out the prices here. So if, else if, and else statement. Otherwise, you will print on the screen is not a valid part number. Now, S-29A capital is not like S-29A small. They are not the same because we are comparing what? ASCII code. And the ASCII code of A capital is not like the ASCII code of A small. Okay? And the same for the other part here. Okay, is this clear, guys? I'm going to talk about the flags now. Okay, we will continue with the flags now. Flags are variable of type Boolean. These flags can be integer, but we prefer to make it Boolean, okay? And the value of 0 means false, non-zero means true, okay? Non-zero, يعني قد تكون 1, 2, 3. It's not, it does not, we don't mean non-zero 1, but if you are going to use a flag, somehow use 0 for false and 1 for true. 0 for false and 1 for true. If you want to use a non-zero value, it's okay. Okay. You are using Boolean variable to use the flag. The flags are condition, okay, or are variable. They might contains false or true, and we prefer to make them of type bool. You can use integer also for them. So they can be of type bool or of type integer. Now, because they contain true or false, so they are used as a function. They are used as a function. And you can use the flag a lot in the search process. So if you have search and find someone and you want to exit the loop, okay, you need to use a flag other than a break. Okay, this is will be explained in next course, inshallah. But the flag, don't forget, if we have talked about flags, we are talking about Boolean or integer variable, or about true and false value. And these flags are used inside condition or used with condition. Okay, so this is for the first slide. Now here, just a simple example about the flag. Here we have entered user. First of all, we want to check the username and the password. So here we have entered the username, then we have read the username. If you remember, we are using getLine to read the string. Okay, to skip or not to ignore spaces. So if I have entered the username with spaces, for example, okay, if the system allow me to enter spaces, so I will read the string as is using the get line. This is what we have explained previously. Now here also I will read the password and if you remember, the value that you are entered inside the keyboard will be saved inside this variable. So for the first CN, the value will be saved inside the username. And for the second CN, the value will be saved inside the password. Here I am doing my, let's say, comparison and return the value. Here. So now, if you remember, if you can see here, I am using AND. So my condition means that the username should be Abdulrahman and the password should be my password. If one of them is false, then the value will be the returned value inside the pass variable will be false. So here we are entering the username and the password and we are checking. If pass, if it is true, then I will print on the screen you have logged into the system successfully. Other than that, we will print on the screen incorrect username password. Okay. So here we are using AND, so both parts should be true. So if the username are true and the password is true, then pass will be true. And here, as you can see, that we have used this Boolean variable inside a condition or with condition. Okay. So now I will check if pass. If it is true, I will print. Otherwise, I will print incorrect username password. And if it is true, I will print logged into the system successfully. Okay. So this is just kind of validation. This is what is happening inside the system. We are comparing value and make sure both are correct. But of course, in the real system, we are comparing these value with database tables. Okay, not from hard-coded value. Okay. So this is for the first slide. Thank you for listening. Now I will go to slide number 7. So we are going to learn about for loops and especially the for loop today. First of all, before we are talking about the loops, we are going to talk about pattern recognition, okay, and repetition structure for statement, as I mentioned, in order to understand the benefit from for loop or why we are using a for loop. Do we need a for loop or not? So in this, we are going to talk about problem solving principle, pattern recognition, generalizing the solution, okay, and we are going to use about repetition structure for statement, okay. Now الباترن هو نمط, okay. What is a pattern? نمط معين. It is an ordered set of numbers, characters, shapes, other mathematical objects arranged according to a rule, okay. يعني هو sets of number, but there is a rule or a relation between this number or this character or this shape. What is a pattern recognition? Pattern recognition is the automated recognition of pattern and regularities in data. So it is about recognizing these patterns. if you can, I think most of you know that now there is a face recognition, there is a fingerprint recognition, and there is a lot of example about pattern recognition. But this is not a manual process, it is an automated process. That means there are programs written to recognize these patterns, either if they are images, if they are faces, if they are voices, files, whatever. Okay. Now for patterns, to solve problem including pattern recognition, you have first of all to write a sample of the expected output. Don't write the whole thing, just write sample of this pattern. Track how the pattern is changing. Yani you need to understand the rules, so you need to see the changes between these patterns. Third, determine the terminating condition where you will stop producing this pattern, and this is important for condition for point number 3 here. This is important. We need to know the terminating condition or the stop condition. So because if I have used a pattern and I use a for loop, if I did not stop this for loop in a case or using a condition, there will be an infinite loop, يعني loop لا نهائية, and your system will be crashed. Okay, راح يصير crashed. So if you are using a web application, your web application will be down. راح يوقع, يعني نسموها في اللغة أو بلغتنا العامية راح يوقع السيستم. I am in slide number 4. So you need to write a sample of what you are expected, track the pattern changing, and try to understand the rule between these numbers. Okay. Determine the terminating condition here. The terminating condition. نعم, هو the reason behind this connection because of the university. Network. It seems there is some problem. It is a general problem inside the whole university. But inshallah, this will not affect you as long as you are following up with me. So please tell me once the screen is frozen, and as I mentioned before, download your slides and open it from your PC. Now here determine the terminating condition where you will stop producing this pattern. Where you will stop producing this pattern. Because you are going to use loops with patterns, you must put a stop condition. Because if you did not do that, you will produce infinite loop, يعني loop لا نهائية. And this will cause your system to be crashed or your web application to be down. في performance issue صارت, مشكلة في الأداء. Because you are writing or you have produced an infinite loop. After that, so this one in red here, terminating condition is important, very important for you as a programmer. After that, write your BCD code if you want to just check this algorithm. Then write the C++ code, and of course you need to test your code. Test it, okay? Now here, just these patterns. This is I am now in slide 5. Write sample of expected pattern. As you can see, 2, 4, 6. For now 98, 100. This is expected output for you. Now you want to understand or track your pattern or know what is changing. Now you have known the rule that the number is always increased by 2. Okay. determine the terminating condition where you will stop reducing this patterns or this pattern until I reach the terminating condition here while the number is less or equal 100. If it became greater than 100, I will stop reducing the condition because I want to bring the number from 2 to 100. So if I have reached 100, I will stop. In other words, if my number became greater than 100, I will terminate the condition, or I will stop producing this pattern, or I will end my loop. راح أنهي اللوب. Okay, هي جملة الدوران. Now here we have number 6. As you can see here the BCD code start set number to 2, print number, num equal number plus 2. If number is less than 100, go to step number 3 here. By the way, go to was used in other programming language like Fortran. If you check the Fortran language, you will find go to. This means go back to step number 3 here. And the lines inside this language are numbered, so you can add label or step like this, L3, or label number 3, or whatever, any symbol, and you can tell the program or the compiler to go to this line. But this go to statement has a lot of negative, so it was moved from most of programming language. Go to, by the way. So this is a reserved word in some programming language, يعني كلمة موجودة. Now here, my algorithm start number, print number, then I increment the number by 2. Now if you see here, if you see an arrow that is going back to a previous step like this, that means there is here a loop. في عندنا جملة دوران. Okay. Until I reach number 100. If the number is less than 100, I will complete printing the number and increasing it by 2. When the number became greater than 100, I will go to the end statement here. Okay. So this is how loops are represented inside the flow chart here. Now I will go to next slide. I will go to slide number 7 here. I will do a disk check only from 1 to 6. So I have just change the condition here. Change the condition to be 6. Okay, because I don't want to waste my time. Just maybe sample of 1 or 3 or 4 numbers is okay for me. Now the last step, as we have mentioned, generalize your solution. If you remember what I have said about this, generalizing the solution, instead of making my program it's for just a special purpose, I can make it more general, or I can generalize my solution so that it could be a better program. So as long as your program is general and it can be used by a huge number of users, that means your program is success. Okay, it's a successful program. So generalizing the rule, the solution, we don't mean by this for the for only, for any developer or any program that you are working on. Try to generalize it. Okay. Now, what do we mean here by generalization here? we, instead of considering number 1, the start value is number 1 and the end value is 100, we just convert them to a variable here. Okay, variables. Instead of making them constant or fixed value like 1 or 100, we have here change them to a variable. So I can enter here from 5 to 100, from 10 to 90, whatever I want. Okay. Now, just don't forget this again. If you see an arrow that is heading to a previous step, that means in this flow chart we have a loop here. We have a loop here. Now, I am in slide number 11. Slide number 11. Now, here just an exercise for you to recognize the pattern and try to find the rules or the relation between these numbers or these characters in the first pattern, as you can see here, and you will find the solution here actually. We are dividing the number by 4 each time. In the second pattern, we are decreasing the number by 50. In the third pattern, we are find the summation of all prior numbers. So 1 plus 0 is 1. Okay. Now 2. Now we are also 1 plus 2 here is equal to 3. Okay. 1 plus 2 plus 3 is equal 6. I will just let you understand this. 1 plus 2 equal 3. Now 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6. And also 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 6 are equal 12. And 12 plus 12 equal 24, sorry. So this is a pattern, and also we have this pattern. We are calculating the prior 2 number here, or the last 2 number. So 1 plus 2 equal 3. Okay. Now here we have 3 plus 2 plus 3 equal 5. 3 plus 5 equal 8. Yes, Abdulaziz.
Why is it 22 in the table? I mean, the third case.
In the third case?
Yeah. The end value is 22.
The end value, you should just calculate. No, it's supposed to be 24. Maybe it is typo error, because we are calculating the summation of all previous number. Okay. So it might be a typo here, but the result here is 24. So,
yes.
Okay. If you have an end value here, no, it is not related to your end value here. Here is the end value, not the result. هذه مش نتيجة، هذا result. لحظة شوي. هذه الend value هنا كذا 22، but هذه النتيجة الأخيرة. واضح؟ This is the result and this is the end value. Okay, it's just an end value here. Okay, it will not make a difference. So the idea behind this slide is to recognize the pattern. To train, we want to train our minds or to train ourselves to recognize a pattern. Now we have also here A, E, I, M. I was in pattern number 4. 1, 2, 3, here is 5. We are just find the sum of the last two numbers. 5 plus 3 is 8, and also 8 plus 13 is 21. Now here, for the letters also, I have A, E, I, M. Each time I increase the ASCII code of the character by 3, so it is supposed to be changed from A to E, from E, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Then I will go to I, after that, and I will go to M. Okay. Now here, we have relation between the star and the pluses. Now the stars each time is increased by 2. And the number of the pluses is less than the stars. Okay. Always. We have here 1 star, 3 stars. So if it is 1, the number of pluses will be 2. If it is 3, the number of pluses will be 4. Okay. If now they will become here 5, the number of pluses will be 6. So the number of stars is increasing 2 each time. And based on this relation, the number of pluses will be more than the number of stars by 1. Because as you can see here, we have n pluses and n minus 1 star. So always the number of stars will be less than the number of pluses by 1. So here. So we have here 2 rules, not 1. The stars starting from 1 and always increased by 2. I am in the same screen now. I did not change the slide. So the number of stars is increasing by 2, and the number of pluses is always less than the number of stars by the number of pluses, the number of stars is less than the number of pluses, okay, by 1. Here we have 1 star, 2 pluses. I will share it again, give me 1 second. And here another one, and here is the third one. Okay. So it is just about solve problem, يعني recognizing pattern. Right, okay. Now I am in slide 12. Just I want to make sure that we will enter this for loop. Sorry for the time, but some of you came a little bit late, so we start يعني 9, 7, 9, 8. So be patient with me, please. Inshallah, I will finish in 10 minutes, inshallah. No, the connection is lost and I don't know what's happened, so I will go back quickly. Here, I was in slide number 14. We mentioned that we have to print this 100 times. This is not correct. We have to write it inside a for loop and repeat this statement for 100 times. But we will write this statement inside our program only for 1 time. But we will repeat it inside a for loop for 100 times. Inshallah, you will see the loops now. Loop statements has body and has initial value and have condition 3 times. And inshallah, we are going to study these loops in details. We have in C++ for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Okay. Now I will go for the for loop. The for loop in slide 18. Now here we have sorry, as you can see here, we are going back here from this step to this one. Okay, so this is a for loop. So now I have initial value, and I will go inside the for loop. If the condition is true, I will do something here and go back again to the loop. Here. Okay. If the condition became false, I will exit my loop. Okay. The same principle or concept inside for, while, and do while statement. Inside the for or the three types of the loops here. Now here I will clear just a drawing. Here for loop we have initialization value, semicolon, we have the condition, and we have the update statement here. And if you need to add one statement, you can add as is, add the statement as is, but I prefer to add begin and end or braces for one statement or one statement. This is what I prefer. For one statement, it's okay. But if you want to add a lot of statements, you have to surround them or by braces. No semicolon after, don't forget this, after the expression. If you added the semicolon, there will be an infinite loop. Okay? But no need to add this because it does not work. If you have done that, that means this loop is just looping without executing anything because you have ended it by a semicolon. So don't use semicolon with for loop and if statement. Just this one. Just I want to remind you about this. Guys, what does this statement do here? Anyone can tell me? I am now in slide 21. How many times? Yes, Walid. Go ahead.
It will print hello 5 times.
5 times, yes. What if I have, as you can see here, look at the count. We have added the pluses here, both in the both or on the right. What do we mean by this? This means the counter will be increased after finishing this semicolon or after ending these statements, because I have added the pluses where at the right, if you remember. As I have explained in the previous lecture, we have added here 2 pluses here at the right, or post pluses or post increment operator, post increment operator here. So in that case, this value will not be increased until I exit this statement here, until I see or the compiler sees this semicolon. So for the first time, the counter will be 1. Then I will print hello. Then I will go again. The counter will become 2. Then I will print hello. Then the counter will become 3. And I print hello. So printing hello will be first of all, then in the second step, the counter will be increased here. Okay, by 1 each time. Because I have added the pluses at the right. Okay, so I will print hello here 5 times. I will print hello 5 times. As you can see here, the initial value, here is my condition, here is the update expression, and here is what I'm going to do. And as I mentioned, I always prefer to add braces, either if it was a single or multi, or there are multiple statements. Here the flow chart of this statements here. I am assigning the loop to 1, then I will print out, see out, if the condition I am assigning the count to 1, then I will check the condition. If it true, look at the chart please here. I want to mention important points. I will print out then increment, as I mentioned. I will just surround it by drawing here. I will print up, see up, then I will increment. But if I have added the pluses at the left, يعني كانت بري البلسز هذه بتكون معكوسة، يعني هذه بتكون هنا وهذه بتكون هنا. في حال إني عكست الكونديشن أو ضفت الانكريمنت اوبريتور in the pre. So I have printed out, then I have increment because I have added the pluses in the as post at the right or in the right. Now don't forget this. I will go to just the last one, just to make sure that you are in parallel with the other class, the same. Now here I am printing the value and the number and the square number, as you can see here. I am printing, look at this example now, min number equal 1, max number equal 10. So I am printing the value, the number and the square number. Number multiplied by itself, okay? So here I am printing 1, 1, 2, 4, and 3, 9. The number and the number to the power 2, okay? Or the here. The number and number squared, okay? Squared, يعني العدد والمربع تاعه. I am now in slide 25. I want to ask 2 questions like the other classes to make sure that you have understand this or you have understood this. What would happen if I have removed the equal from the condition here? What are the results? So num will be less than max number. شو راح تكون النتيجة؟ طباعة. I am printing here the number تاب يعني فراغات بعدين النمبر مضروب في نفسه. هنا شو راح تكون النتيجة إذا شلت اليساوي كانت greater less than max number. شو النتائج اللي راح تطبع على الشاشة؟ هل راح تطبع يس وليد؟
مربع 9 آخر شيء بيكون.
لا 9، نعم هذا الأول. كلامك صح لأنه أنا شلت greater than. السؤال الثاني the second question. If I have removed here the post increment operator خليتهم بري، شو أول قيمة راح تنطبع؟ يعني صارت البلسز بري هنا في البداية، شو راح يطبع أول شيء؟ 1 ولا 2؟ 2 صح. عثمان جاوب said 2 لأنه أنا راح I will increase the variable by 1 here. So راح يكون هنا 2. إذا كانت البلسز هذه or the increment operator on the left I will print 2 then المربع تاعه يعني راح يبدأ من 2 ويطبع 4. المربع للاثنين 4. So this is just remind me next lecture that we have reached to slide 25.